Court now. Republic TV and Arnab are going to present the evidence in an affidavit in the top court that we have against the Maharashtra government, Uddhav Thackeray and Param Singh, in the witch hunt that they started against us in April. The witch hunt, the wild goose chase, all the cases, the multiple FIRs, every case, every bit of evidence, every summons, this entire witch hunt will be placed by us, this vendetta encyclopedia, before the top court. Today in a hearing, an affidavit was asked for, and that affidavit will be placed before the Honorable Supreme Court. I welcome our panelists before us. We have Deshrata Nigam, advocate, joining us. We have Swapnil Kothari, advocate, with us, as well as Subhash Jha, lawyer, with us on the panel. I spoke to Deshrata Nigam earlier in the day today, and I also want to go across to Subhash Jha. Very good evening to my panelists today. I begin with you, Subhash Jha. We've spoken several times over the past few days. You've spoken eloquently about this witch hunt, but today I want to begin with what happened in the Supreme Court. And what caught my eye when I was going through bit by bit of this hearing in the Supreme Court is the words of Dr. Singhvi. Dr. Singhvi, who appeared for the Maharashtra government, was very clear in his evidence, in what he wanted in the courtroom. He said, I want Arnab to be summoned. He said, after that we'll give 48 hours of notice, and after that we'll see if he has to be arrested. At that time, the Chief Justice of India spoke very eloquently and made an excellent observation about how there were certain people who were being more targeted than others. Subhash Jha, I ask you, when the Maharashtra government is evident in some case or the other, their only motive is arrest Arnab, this wild goose chase that they have started, do you think they're going to stop this vendetta? Or is it only this I Am Republic movement that 130 crore Indians who've united will let them know this vendetta in today's India is not going to work?
Rhythm, I fail to understand why this government is not taking lesson from what is happening with it for the past few months, right from Palghar case to SSR case, Sushant Singh Rajput's case, which was ultimately transferred from the state Mumbai police. The investigation, the so-called investigation, which was shown to be going on without registration of FIR for more than 50 days, ultimately. I fail to understand who the advisors of the government presently. I'm surprised. And why are they not taking some advice? Why they are not doing some self-introspection before embarking upon to continue with the same folly again and again, over and again? See, please try to understand. They must realize one thing, that the highest court of the country, that is the Supreme Court of India, ever since 1950 when it came into existence, has been coming down very heavily whenever there has been violation of fundamental rights by any government. Ultimately here, of course, the government is involved, but it is through the back door, it is perhaps pushing the Commissioner of Police of Mumbai to achieve its object. But the Commissioner of Police himself is expected to be a responsible officer. He cannot dance to the tune of the state government and must say no, that it cannot be done. When the government itself, time and again, governments of the state, respective states, have been frowned upon, have been castigated for taking on the media or censoring the media or harassing the media,
Yes.
or doing something which would bring only censored news to the people of this country, has been frowned upon, has been taken very seriously as it violates Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution. I fail to understand why this policeman is taking law into his own hands and inviting trouble. I think he is retiring in March.
Correct.
I'm told March 2022, should keep on enjoying his whatever little time he has left
But
in
you
his
know,
police
Subhash
department.
Jha, it is not only Subhash Jha. Yes, but Subhash Jha, this is not only about him retiring. This is about a personal vendetta. When reports have come out today, which are in the public domain, which are talking about witness coercion, when 10 policemen, and Subhash Jha, understand this, when the nation has got so outraged, why is the nation outraged? Why are people from California, from Queenstown, from across not only India, but Cape Town are writing into Republicans saying, I am Republican, this movement is galvanized, because they understand the VIPs and the mighty are angry because a man tried to question them. Whether it's the Sushant Singh Rajput case, whether it's the Palghar case, they're not able to take on that a man tried to question and ask them questions. It's as simple as that. But when that man tried to do this, they tried to take out fake cases, then they went after witnesses. And it's something as simple as going to a man at 3 a.m. in the morning, 10 policemen, imagine the plight of a witness there. And then the neighbor, he's speaking to his neighbor. And Swapnil, I come to you on this. And then the neighbor is told by him on a phone call, which is in the public domain today, that came out on India. And he's told, I'm scared. Why should I lie? And he's being told to name Republic Bharat as the channel he's watched, when in fact some other channel had been contacted by him. This is just one of the cases, Swapnil. Another case is, of course, in 2004, when the man was probing the matter. And I'll also come to Deshratan Nigam here. Deshratan Nigam, you know the law better than me. And it's very evident, this is not only witness coercion, but also a top cop who's an encounter cop allegedly. In 2004, he's been removed because of some disciplinary action, because of some trial of murder that he's in. He's reinstated by Param Singh Review Committee, and then he's probing this particular case against Arnab. How does this all can be explained other than being called a witch hunt?
The only explanation is that his appointment is clearly on political grounds, not any other grounds. That's the short and simple explanation. And he's dancing to the tune of his political masters. And let me be very, very clear. He seems to have forgotten the oath when he entered into the Indian police service. And that oath is very categorical, and he needs to service the people and the country. And that is first and foremost. And he seems to have forgotten that. And he has a history. And that history seems to be, suppressed. And that probably will come out once he retires or the political executive changes in Maharashtra. And that will certainly come out. And let me assure you, people like me or the panel that we have, this is a very concerned panel which is very responsible. And I'm sure there will be efforts from other people as well to bring out the real facts in public domain. And let me tell you one thing very, very categorically. In this era of paid journalism, Republic TV calls a spade a spade. And through its genuine and honest reporting, despite as Mumbai High Court says, despite the Damocles sword hanging on the journalist. And that is one has to learn. And other journalists and the TV channels must realize today they are trying to harass Republic TV. Tomorrow it may be possible that they may be the target. And therefore the need of the hour is the unity, as people are saying, I am Republic. And therefore the word Republic out here stands for the freedom of journalism, freedom of press. And that is what we have to, highlight for the people. And let me also tell you, this kind of harassment through multiple FIRs, witness coercion, is not a rarest of rare case, where the Mumbai High Court clearly and rightfully suspended the investigation and the entire FIR, then which case will be? And especially the ones which undermine the freedom of press, freedom of press. And therefore, this has to be taken very, very seriously, because it has far-reaching consequences which may not be, clear on the surface, but if you scratch the surface, you will see the dangerous designs behind it, where they are trying to muzzle and suppress the voice which brings out the true facts and evidences before court, despite, challenges, dangerous challenges to such channels. And I have been to your debate right from the day of inception of the two channels. And let me tell you, this is one of the channels which promotes harmony among the various societies and constituents of societies, and promotes national integration. And that certain, liberal, pseudo-liberal section of society does not like it, because it defeats their agenda, both legally, otherwise, on sound facts and figures and circumstances. And that is where there is an entire lobby which is slightly feeling threatened because of the popularity and TRP rating of this particular channel. Despite the fact that your channel name was not there in complaint, a police commissioner, forgetting his oath, comes on record and does a illegal press conference, and I'm very clear that press conference was illegal because the contents of it were completely illegal and unconstitutional. And for that, he should be reprimanded and taken to task, and some kind of a disciplinary action should be taken against him. And therefore, this is an hour where everybody has to be united. Yes.
I also want to, you're right, Deshrata Nigam, and this is about people being united. This is also about understanding what the larger picture here is, Swapnil. Today when Mr. Hari Salve, a senior advocate who was appearing for Republic TV and Arnab in the courtroom, and he understood the points that were being made in the courtroom, what did he say? He said, understand that this is not a joke. It started in Palghar where the genesis was, but see the summons that have come. They've come to the CEO, they've come to the CFO, they've come to the CEO. Arnab has been summoned and been sitting there. He's been interrogated for over 17 hours. 160 hours of interrogation has been done by the entire editorial staff that's been summoned. In the Palghar, the FIR is a joke, it seems. It's not a joke. He said this is a malified manhunt that has been started. He also spoke about the witch hunt that has been going on. Then he spoke about the political party, that is the Congress, that had FIRs being filed in every state. Swapnil, the crux of the matter is, it is evident to one and all and to every Indian who's been watching this particular thing that this is a witch hunt. But now the picture needs to be clear. When our CFO, an old man, Mr. Sundaram, is being called every day for summons, and this is the crux of the matter. You cannot continue harassing people. You need to understand this is a time of COVID, especially in the state of Maharashtra. You need to understand that age and health of people needs to be taken into consideration. He's 58 years old. You need to understand that the CFO cannot know about sources of a particular story, Swapnil. And you need to stop this wild goose chase.
Well, absolutely. There is no question about it. It amounts to nothing but harassment to a person, especially of certain age, when especially in a COVID era which is going on at the moment. Now, as Harish Salve very eloquently must have pointed out all these facts before the court. What I am, I'll always look at the silver lining. Rhythm, I understand what you people are going through, but I will always be very positive. I will always come on your show and I will always try to show you the silver lining. It's like one of those litigants, which the court has to bear, who always comes out with frivolous litigations one after the other, whether it's a Congress party or whoever it may be. The court eventually says, okay, if this litigation is coming from this person or this particular institution, then okay, well, there's hardly going to be any merit in it. So one after the other, say 200 FIRs, then these 2 FIRs, then, maybe there are certain more in the future. So the court is not going to look at it very, very, pleasantly. It's going to look at it all with a jaundiced eye, saying that, okay, इसमें कोई कभी दम नहीं होता है, कोई केस में तथ्य नहीं होता है. So what is the point of pursuing this, or what is the point of let's hear it for the sake of hearing it, because you have to hear it because that's what the principles of natural justice say. And I'm glad that what you have started I Am Republic movement, because what is the meaning of republic? Republic means absence of monarchy. That is exactly what republic means. So there is no monarchy here in this country. There is republic. It's a democracy. We are for the people, by the people, and of the people. So there is no question. It's not for the people, of the people, and by the people. It's for the people, of the people, and by the people. So, that's the way the republic of a democracy functions. So I'm glad that you all have started this movement and you all are gathering this. I was watching Arnab online the other day, and the amount of support that he was getting from the country, from the world, was amazing. And I'm glad that this will only increase, because what's going to happen is people are going to watch and they're going to say, okay, if a man is putting up questions before a certain government, then there is no harm in doing that. And one cannot take those questions, with, personally, in the sense that you sort of, your retaliation, it amounts to retaliation rather than a response. So what you're supposed to do as a government, you're supposed to respond, not retaliate. And that is where the court is going to find favor with Republic TV. And the very fact that you'll have to put this affidavit very, very nicely. And one of the other things that I would like to suggest on your channel, it's a very, very important constitutional aspect that I want to ask. Rhythm, you will be aware, being a lawyer, that under Article 143, there is a presidential reference to the Supreme Court when the president finds that there is a question of grave importance plaguing the country. Now, Arnab has written a letter to the president a couple of days before. He can take that letter and craft questions whether or not a media freedom should be there to a certain extent, whether they are allowed to, ask questions, speak truth to power, whether or not what sort of investigations need to be continued. Those letter can form the basis of several set of questions and make it a presidential reference under Article 143 to the Supreme Court, so that the Supreme Court can give opinions. There are some 13 to 14, to the best of my knowledge, so far since the 1950 that the Supreme Court has started functioning. I'm not aware of the exact number, but those have all been fantastic reports that the Supreme Court has given. So this is a very important stage. Apart from you deal with, the cases that are there with, before the court, say Republic TV's investigation, this FIR, that FIR, you do that. But overall, there has to be the media freedom. The fourth pillar of the democracy today is being shattered and tottered. It's tottering in some fashion today, because we've never seen this. At least I haven't seen this. I was only 4 years old when 75 there was emergency. So I don't remember all these things. I do not know what it is. But this is what I'm facing, and I'm appalled by this thing happening, especially in the city, the state that I'm super proud of. I am very proud of Maharashtra. I'm very proud of the Mumbai police. I'm very proud of the certain aspects that this government has done. But these things, tend to, sort of unsettle me in many ways. So that is the reason why I want a presidential reference in this aspect, so that it's a lesson for the entire media and the governments and the state governments also, that every time the CBI does not need to step in, because I want that state and center power to be balanced, because again, then there'll be a problem in the future. I'm not saying that as far as this TRP scam is concerned, don't let CBI come in. CBI should come in because it's a national importance. Naturally, feasibility is there with CBI more than any state. So I'm not talking about this. I'm just talking generically. So all these things need to be kept in mind. I appeal to the President of India to convert Arnab's letter into Article 143. Under 143, put it before the Supreme Court. It's a very, very important constitutional matter. It is not a state matter. It is not a matter of Republic TV. It is a constitutional matter.
And therefore, Swapnil, that is also another reason that the CBI should be also taking on this case. Subhashja, look at the timing that the Uddhav government withdraws consent to the CBI of the CBI looking and probing into matters. This is a state subject, they say, and they withdraw this. But one after the other, like Swapnil has been saying, in such cases, the Maharashtra government has been getting more and more aggressive. Whether it's in the Bombay High Court, whether it's in the media gag trial cases, so as to say, like they continue saying, the Maharashtra government stand has become more, the Uddhav Thackeray government stand, I would say, has become more and more sinister. Today, the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Justice Bobray, has said, while nobody is above the law, we have to remember some people are targeted with higher intensity. Subhashja, take this into context of what's been happening with Republic TV, and we continue to repeat this because we know we have the support of Indians, of viewers not only in India but abroad, because we've been getting their pictures, we've been getting their views, we've been getting lots of tapes, and it's heartening when we see a young Aryan writing in, a young Aryan talking about it, his sister talking about it. It's very heartening. But at the same time, there's a very concerted attempt by media regulatory so-called bodies, by certain channels that are trying to chuckle about it. They make jokes about it, and we don't need their support. But the way they try to be quiet about it in hush-hush circles, it's very clear even this becomes a topic that they don't want to speak about, and this is clearly something that the courts are also taking note of.
Rhythm, let me tell you that India's image and reputation in the past few months, because of one state, and that is state of Maharashtra. I'm so sorry to say, although I live in state of Maharashtra, I've lived in state of Maharashtra all throughout my life, has been seriously and extremely seriously dented. And sooner, be it the case of Palghar, the way two sadhus were massacred, they were butchered, along with their driver. Look at the way the SSR case was, Sushant Singh Rajput's case and Disha Salian's case was handled or by the state government, by the Mumbai police. Look, and therefore the Supreme Court had to transfer the case to the CBI. And look at what is happening, the third pillar of democracy, the way it is being targeted. It is being, the editor-in-chief and other staffs are being harassed day in and day out. What do you want? You want the Mumbai police to censor the news of Republic TV, and then only the news must flow to the people of this country. Is this not an indirect censorship that they want to impose or clamp upon, which can certainly be not permitted in a democratic country like ours? Now, I want to go slightly behind. Let me tell you, the entire edifice case of this TRP so-called scam is based on what? It is not the police will decide. It is the BARC, the agency, which has taken a decision as to who are the people or who are the entities which were involved in the process of this so-called scam. And what is the name? The name of Republic TV doesn't figure. And those who figures in the report of BARC are not called. I can understand if they, during the course of investigation, it would have been the case of the police that during the course of investigation of other entities, we stumbled upon the information where name of Republic TV has also figured. One can understand. But otherwise, how can you start with something which was not there in the report itself? I mean, I fail to understand. And this should have been a ground for interference by any constitutional court, where such proceedings should not be permitted at all. Should not be, and the court must come upon very heavily on such investigation and investigating agency indulging into these kind of activities under the garb of uniform. This is extremely serious matter, and therefore I've said that I've been all along fighting for that the perception of the Constitutional Court must change, and the old antiquated thought which has been prevalent in this country for over 60 years now, that no interference, circumspection, and rarest of the rare case, all these terminology which have been coined for all these years, thinking that once the investigation is embarked upon, will be conducted fairly and reasonably, that has been shattered completely. And therefore, the law must be evolved or interpreted in such a way that such type of investigation, which goes on day in and day out in a country, is curtailed with heavy hands. And
That's
the Constitutional Court must not shy away to come down very heavily on such investigation, including the investigation which has been going on as against
this
Republic
is
TV.
a point that we actually need to absolutely, and whether it's witness coercion, whether it's what you're mentioning, Subhashja, the people of India have understood the point. Like I said earlier, what's for me very heartening is when children are writing in, when I'm seeing these letters come in, when I see on Facebook the messages of young children writing in, it warms my heart because these are messages coming in from California, from San Francisco, from Queenstown and Cape Town and different towns in India, from Kunur and Ooty. It warms my heart when I see this overwhelming support coming in, and that's why we thank you for being a part of this movement. I thank our guests for being with us. Thanks for being with this movement. I am Republic viewers. We thank you for being this part of this movement.